Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of OV Boss Babes. Today, I'm sitting down with Sylvie Neville from Picket Fence Renfrew and Emma Kluche from Picket Fence Pembroke. So here I am at Emma's house in Petawawa. Everybody that's watching this today know that Emma's home is just as picturesque as her store. Emma, it's just simply beautiful.
Thank you. It is my happy place.
And you recently relocated here to Petawawa because you were living in Pembroke.
Yeah, we lived in Pembroke. I was trying to figure that out this morning, but I think we've been here for just over 2 years now. But love it in Petawawa, and we're in a little bit of away from the town a bit. So yeah, it's nice being out here.
And then Sylvie, for you, whereabouts are you from?
Okay, so I'm originally from the Quebec side. I'm from Campbell's Bay, but lived in Pembroke for, I guess, over 40 years. And then we literally just moved to Renfrew a year ago after me traveling for almost 28 years to the store. So loving Renfrew, loving the people there, happy to be able to reconnect with some old friends. So yeah, so we're in Renfrew now.
Well, Sylvie, let's put you in the hot seat right from the get-go here.
All right.
Where did the idea for Picket Fence come from?
Okay, well, basically, I've always known I wanted to be in business. Since I was a kid, playing store like most kids do, and then as a teenager, being in college, that's what I wanted to do. And I've always had an idea of the type of store I wanted. And it's exactly what Picket Fence is today and what it was a few years ago as well. So, yeah.
And you opened Picket Fence in 1996, so
yeah,
we're going
you
back
guys
in the...
were barely...
we're going back in the time capsule here.
5?
You were 5?
Oh, yeah.
I was 25. So, yeah, it makes sense because
Yeah,
when you
20
turn 30, I
years
turned
different.
50. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 25 years old when you opened.
Yes.
So what did home decor stores look like back then? Because obviously we know they look very differently than what they do today.
They did. And I will say, like, it was supposed to, when it started, it was a little country gift store. Okay, it's hence the name Picket Fence. Okay, but like some of our best items back then were, I don't know if you guys remember these, but they were called the Circle of Friends. They were clay, and there were people holding each other, and then there's a circle in the middle. You'd put your candle. So that was our top seller back then. And then like anything suns with sun and moons, blue and yellow. Italian charm bracelets. That was a little bit later on, maybe in the early 2000s. But yeah, so that's lots of candles.
And then what about the stars? Because I remember even with Country
gosh.
Cupboard, everybody had the stars on their home. And I remember my mom could not wait to get one for her house. But then there was like a funny rumor about the stars too that we all heard about.
Yes, yeah.
The stars came out until later on.
Yeah, that
the
was
stars
more,
are
I
later
think,
on.
yeah.
But yeah. I never put a star on my house. Not gonna lie.
Oh, that's too funny.
Did you know that she's my sister-in-law?
Cheryl
From the Country Cupboard?
No,
Yeah,
I
she's
didn't.
my sister-in-law. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Oh,
Yeah.
and
such a small
and
world.
Cheryl's really good friends with my mom
Yeah.
too. So it's
Which
Isn't
is
that
sort of
ironic?
how we
Kind of.
Yeah, I got a reference from you. Really, it's through Cheryl. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And isn't it funny too that she also started her home decor store? Was it around the same time or later?
A little bit later from me, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I can't even remember. Maybe a year or two later.
You
Yeah.
started a trend,
around
though,
then.
Sylvie.
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
So you took business management, marketing, and related support services at Algonquin College. But was entrepreneurship always something that you wanted to pursue?
Always.
Really?
Always. I don't take orders very well from others, so I had to be my own boss.
No kidding.
Right? But she tries to boss me around sometimes. It doesn't work.
But you still wanted to go to school?
No, I felt like I had to.
Oh, because that's
want
the
to.
society standards though, right?
Yeah,
Like you have to go to
absolutely.
school.
You have to go to school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not much of a school person. I've always known this is what I wanted to do. Always. Yeah.
So I always love asking people what mom and dad said, when you decided to go down the entrepreneurial path. So 25 years old, I feel like we're still, looking for our parents' approval. You still went to school. Mm-hmm. What did your parents say?
Absolutely not. They did not want me to open my own business because my mom was in business and she knew the hurdles. It's not all hurdles, obviously, but she did not want me to open my own store, but I did anyways, and she is very proud of me now.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, because I come from a family of entrepreneurs, my grandpa, my parents, so yeah.
What did they all do?
So my grandpa owned a like a Chevy dealership over on the Quebec side with his brothers. And my mom had a fabric store. She had a Sears outlet catalog store. She gave ceramic classes. And then in Montreal, when she met her now husband, she had 2 gift shops in Montreal as well. Home decor gift shops. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's in my blood. My brother, he's in business as well. So yeah. Yeah.
So Emma, let's bring you in now. How did you come to working for Sylvie at Picket Fence?
So I was in high school. I had one of my best friends actually worked for Sylvie. Her and her sister were working for Sylvie in the Pembroke Mall. And I think Sylvie mentioned to my good friend that she was looking for a student or some part-time help at the store. And my friend said, oh, I know this girl. She'd be great, but she's only 14. But I think she'd be great in the store. So, and I'll never forget, my sister at the time was working at Ricky's Bootlegger in the mall. And I remember going to see my sister, and I knew Sylvie always liked to have her girls that were working at the store outfitted nicely and looking presentable. So I remember going to my sister, and she picked out all these nice dress clothes for me because I was so excited to go start working at Picket Fence. It was a big deal. So yeah, at 14, I started working for Sylvie, and I've been stuck there ever since. I shouldn't say stuck.
And then you got your license, and then you were my go-to between all the stores. Remember that?
Yeah, when I got my license, I worked for Sylvie in Pembroke mostly, but then in the summers when I wasn't in school, I would go to Renfrew and work for her in Renfrew as well.
Yeah, and then I start taking you to the gift shows pretty much when
Yeah, so there's 2 buying shows yearly for our stores, and Sylvie, young age, like I was I was probably around 16. She started taking me to the gift shows. She gave me a lot of responsibility. Not saying it in a bad way, but she gave me a lot of responsibility at the store too, which I appreciate, and I was able to handle, and that's what I wanted.
Absolutely.
I remember I always wanted to organize for you.
Okay, so this is funny. So she'd, oh my God, I'm going to clean this back room. It's driving me nuts. Fine. Now I go into her back room. I'm like, oh my God, your back room is such a mess. It's driving me nuts. So it's a big
no time for that now.
Right?
Yeah. No, honestly, I'm so lucky to have Sylvie too, because she's been such a big support system for me.
I'm the lucky one. Yeah.
It's like another mother-daughter relationship too. I mean, you guys almost like look alike too.
Apparently, we're like sisters. I called Sylvie. I said to Sylvie that she was like my aunt, I'm like, and I'm not going to live that down. She's like, no, I'm offended. I'm more like your sister.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, we have a great relationship.
We do, and that's why it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
So then so I worked for Sylvie. Starting when I was 14, I was going through high school. I then went to Algonquin College to take the business program. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I did always have an interest in business. I remember running so many business ideas by Sylvie too, and she was always like, yeah, go for it, do it. So she knew I was interested in that side of things. And when I was finishing up my program at Algonquin, Sylvie offered me the Pembroke store, and I was 19.
19. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
A mature 19-year-old.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back a little bit here before we skip ahead too much, because Emma, you actually hinted multiple stores. And from my recollection, Sylvie, you only had the Renfrew and Pembroke store, but give us that history.
Okay.
And backstory.
So Renfrew, my first store in Renfrew was a 300 square foot store. So basically very, very small.
And you were also in the Pembroke Mall, the Renfrew Mall.
Yes. So, it was in the mall. And then that same year, the people that own the Arnprior Mall offered us a location there. So within a year, we had 2 stores, which was a lot. but I have a very supportive husband, so that helped. That helped tremendously. And then a year later, so I don't know about you girls, but like when I was a kid, like I'd go to the Pembroke Mall and be like, oh my God, like I never imagined having a store there, right? And then I never thought it'd be possible. It was mostly like franchises and stuff. And then, we approached the Pembroke Mall, and then that came about the second year we were in business. We had 3 stores. And what you don't know is, and then years later, we opened a second location in Pembroke. It was called the Home Store. You didn't work for me then, did you?
No.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So then we just had the 3 stores. And then I was also raising a daughter. Well, we were, my husband and I, and my stepkids as well. So it got a little bit crazy. So when Emma had the idea of taking over, it really worked out for us. Mm-hmm. It was good timing.
It was good.
It was
timing.
really good timing.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was for you, not so much.
No, it all worked out.
Well, how did you approach Emma? Like, what was that conversation like? Especially because Emma was only 19 years old.
Well, I feel like because we have such a relaxed and easy relationship, it was
never
hey.
it was never like, it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Well, I'm not sure. I'd like to open something. I'm like, well, I'm thinking of slowing down. I would take over the store. Or was it maybe at first we said she could manage it, but I don't know. It just worked. Mm-hmm. It just worked. There was no big hoopla. It flowed into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's a question for you though, going back to it once more. Why not have Emma co-own it with you?
Okay, so then back to partnership. There's partnerships and there's partnerships. I would never want to be partners with anyone. It's something that typically, it does work out, but typically it doesn't. And that was never an option. But if I had to choose a partner, obviously it would be Emma. But
I think it was just the way of the times back then. It was 2010. We're going through a recession.
Yes, and my husband had left Atomic Energy to work with us for 8 years, and then that year he decided to go back.
Yeah.
And it was just too much for me.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of her getting more off her plate. So even having that part of Pembroke still, I don't think it would have worked out. It's not what she needed at that point.
No.
Yeah.
Now that's not something you hear every day as someone leaving Atomic Energy or CNL now, what we're recognized it as, to come work for you, especially a husband.
Right? Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's when you were selling
a lot of
furniture.
A lot of furniture.
Yeah.
So. Our warehouses were bigger than our stores at that time, remember? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And isn't it interesting? And I really appreciate, both of your husbands being so fully invested in a part of both of your stores. And Emma, we'll get into Chris a little bit later, your husband, and how big of a help he is with your store. But okay, I want to know a little bit about your experience when you first started thinking about this idea of being an owner of your own store. So you're 19 years old. Mm-hmm. You're still relatively young. Mm-hmm. 19 is young.
It's so young.
Not relatively, it is young.
I look at 19-year-olds right now. I'm like, they're just babies. Yes. It's crazy.
So how long did you sit on making this decision before you went all in?
It wasn't long. I knew it was a major opportunity for me, and especially not knowing exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It was, okay, I got to jump on this or not. I just couldn't pass it up. It felt right. It felt good. It wasn't a long process. And because we do have that good relationship, it's not like we had to get down to the nitty gritty of things. I knew the business. I knew it was a great business. It was a well-established business. It was honestly a no-brainer.
And then what about your parents' reaction and your boyfriend too? Because you and Chris were high school sweethearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my parents, my mom was a little bit more hesitant on the whole idea. She worked for the government her whole life, and she was used to that office job and didn't really understand the entrepreneurial aspect of things. But she will always support me in any decision I make, and she is one of my strongest supporters to this date. And my dad was a little bit more into the idea, I should say, because he did grow up in an entrepreneurial home. His father owned his own landscaping business. And so he understood that side of things. And he knew I loved the store. He knew I loved working for Sylvie. I loved working at the store. And he also knew that Picket Fence was such a well-established business. So I think he was kind of thinking the same as I was.
Yeah, and Emma was always a committed employee. Like, she was committed. She had a good head on her shoulders. Like, she wasn't your typical 19-year-old. Like, really, when you think of it, Em, like, very mature. Right?
I think all
So
of
there-
Emma's friends can attest to that too, that Emma's very mature for age.
Absolutely.
Always been that motherly figure.
Yes.
Well beyond her years.
Absolutely, yeah.
I took care of you a lot.
You still do?
Yeah, it's funny because like even at such a young age, Sylvie would come to me with a lot of things, and I felt so good about that she entrusted me with so much, and she appreciated my opinion on a lot of things.
Yeah, mostly.
Thanks.
So Emma, what were those first few years like for you, first working at Picket Fence? Because you're in the Pembroke Mall, you're 19 years old. I'm trying to think back to my young age at 19. And I mean, I will tell you right now, I probably still don't have the maturity that Emma has at this age. But your friends are all working part-time jobs. They're going to school still.
to
They're
college.
starting off their careers. You're well ahead of your times in this regard.
Yeah. It was an interesting time. It was definitely the most stressful thing I've been through. It's that whole adjustment, leaving school, diving headfirst into this. But I wouldn't look back and regret anything. Again, Sylvie was there all the time to support me. So I had that. I had my parents. I had my boyfriend, now husband, Chris, who backed me in everything I did. And he was my support system. It was a lot. It was a huge change of life, I should say. And then when I was 21, we actually had 22, we had our firstborn, Carter. And that was a whole new game.
Gosh, I remember you just did not know how you're going to juggle.
Yeah, it was a lot. And being in the mall as well, we had long hours. We were open from 9:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night every day except for the weekends. Open 7 days a week. It was a lot. I had really great employees that I can count on, but I wasn't able to take a mat leave. I had to go back to work when Carter was 6 weeks old. It was tough, but we made it through. I had my family. I had my friends. I had such a big support system to help me. And I say to this day, I couldn't have done what I did if I didn't have that. There would be no way.
Did you bring Carter with you to the store at all?
Sometimes, not too often. We did have a lot of help, like I said. I remember when I had my second born, Lincoln, in 2016. I remember because we were backstory. We were in the mall for 5 years. So I left the mall in 2015, and then I moved downtown in 2015. So I had Lincoln in 2016 when we were already downtown. I was able to set my own hours. It was a little bit of a more laid back experience. So I did bring Lincoln as a baby into the store. I remember having him in a little bouncy chair at the front of the store, just hanging out. Customers coming in saying, "Oh, there's a baby there." Yeah, but no, it all worked out. So very, very stressful, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
And it's so funny, now seeing so many entrepreneurs who are moms. I know myself, I bring my kids everywhere. I'm on maternity leave right now. I've got a 10-month-old, and he comes everywhere with me, whether he's coming to my facial appointment because I don't have anybody to watch him and I need that self-care time, and he's on my lap or he's in the corner playing.
Yeah.
my daughter at 6 months old, she was coming with me to podcast interviews, playing off to the side. So I get it. And I feel like you were saying, Emma, you know, finding your tribe, finding your support system, finding your village.
Yeah.
I went and got my hair done the other day with both kids, and I was at a 3-hour appointment. Shout out to my girl, Alina Tremblay. There I was with my head in the sink, getting my hair done so that I could be, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for this interview today. And there is Liam Clifford's wife wiping my child's nose, you know, and I look around just being so thankful that we live in a day and age where moms support one another, women support one another, and everybody kind of helps out. And I think it's just so important to kind of remember that and to give each other grace, but also, you know, don't ask if somebody needs help and just step in and say, like, what can I do to help you?
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, it's like times
it's
like
so
that.
important. And
So
yeah,
important.
I owe a lot of my success to my family, and
Same.
especially to Chris, my husband. He's my backbone, and I can go to him with any problem. I can say, okay, we're doing this now. He's like, okay, tell me when. Okay, I need this done. Okay, tell me where.
We're very lucky. We both have very supportive husbands that just support us no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Yeah.
So Emma, what made you decide to want to leave the Pembroke Mall? Because again, we have to put ourselves back in the 90s, early 2000s when business is booming. Everybody is hanging out at the Pembroke Mall. I remember like reading all the magazines, and like that was the thing. You know, you go out with your friends on a Friday night or on a Saturday morning, and you're hanging out at the Pembroke Mall. And you decided to leave.
Yeah. So I was there from 2010 to 2015. Times were definitely different back then. I think the main reason I left was it was just too expensive. It was a crazy amount of rent to be paying for a small business. And to have employees there from 9:30 in the morning till 9 p.m. at night, like that's a lot of financial responsibility as well. And so I think my next and maybe last option was to move downtown Pembroke. I remember multiple people telling me don't do it because there was not much downtown Pembroke in 2015, not much at all. And so, but I felt it in my gut that it was something that I wanted to try and something that I had to do. So we opened in a small space. It's actually where Ottawa Valley Apparel is now, which I actually co-own as well. And it was so tiny. I don't even know how we did it in there, but we moved there and it worked. I stayed positive. I had so many supporters. We were busy. It was really busy. And once we moved downtown, we could see other stores just starting to pop up here and there. And I always say downtown Pembroke has such big potential, and it just takes those people to take a chance on it. And I moved in 2015, and then I ended up needing a bigger space. So in 2019, we moved to where we are now, which is just 2 doors down from the old location. Much bigger space, and things are great. Like, I love it downtown. I love the community. We have so many loyal customers, and I'm so thankful for them. And you can spend your day downtown now. You can go shopping. You can have lunch. There's so much to do now, and yeah, I just love it.
I'm Erin Howitt, certified personal stylist, color analyst, and image expert. Whether you are already fashion forward or experiencing a little bit of fashion illiteracy, I am here to help you achieve all of your fashion goals. I specialize in body type discovery, closet audits, color analysis, personal shopping, and everything in between. It's time to elevate your wardrobe and mindset through style. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Valley Vogue Styling Co. You're watching the OV Boss Babes podcast exclusively on Spotify.
So the Business Fundamentals is a certificate program. We're launching it for September 2023. It is a good bridge into the business diploma as well. The advantages of it is that it's 2 terms, the fall and the winter term. It is a certificate, so it's meant to give an introduction to the business concepts, and it allows students to have that taste to see whether or not business is something they'd like to pursue. So the Business Fundamentals Certificate bridges into the Business Diploma, which can then actually bridge into an advanced diploma or a university business degree. The students attend the same courses as the Business Diploma students, but they take 16 courses, whereas the diploma is 24 courses. So as I said, a good way to start to see whether or not business is something you're interested in, but it does only have this 13 courses, 6 in level 1 and 7 in level 2. So multimodal means that a student can attend in person or they can attend on Zoom. They attend in real time, which means they have access to a professor, they have classmates, and they get a class learning experience, but they can attend from wherever they are, in the country, in the world, in the province. They can join by Zoom. Yes, so the certificate is 16 courses. If somebody at the end of April decided they were interested in going into the business diploma, there's a few courses they would have to pick up, actually 3, and then they would be able to join the diploma in the fall and be able to graduate with a certificate and a diploma. The fundamentals is meant for students who maybe aren't sure what they want to do, aren't maybe ready to dive into a diploma or start into a diploma, which is usually delivered over 16 months or over 24 months. It's meant for potentially students who can't access post-secondary education because they don't have a college nearby or university. So somebody in a more remote area, for example, if the weather's bad, they can join by Zoom versus having to come onto campus. If you travel, or if you're not necessarily living somewhere where you have access, or if you're not ready to maybe leave and go to a bigger setting, then you could attend this and get some exposure to college and college education. And all of these courses are transferable to business diploma. So it's a good stepping stone for a lot of reasons.
End of the Leash is a local women and veteran-owned pet boutique. Owners Tina McNish and Jillian McLellan have together over 30 years of industry experience in pet care and dog training, specializing in raw and whole foods for dogs and cats. They provide a variety of dry and wet foods to keep your best friend healthy and happy. In addition to this, they offer a selection of toys, beds, clothing, accessories, and more. End of the Leash have created a pet haven which will provide residents of the Ottawa Valley with high-quality, wholesome pet products and services. For exceptional knowledge, customer-centric care, and service, End of the Leash is your only pet boutique. Also, check out owners Jill and Tina with manager Michelle in their new YouTube series that covers all of your frequently asked questions on everything pet. Get industry behind-the-scenes training tips, home hacks, and more with their new channel that has videos scheduled to release weekly.
Hey everyone, my name is Emily and I'm a licensed financial professional here to make finances fun. I offer a variety of services to my clients, both in person or on Zoom. So whether you'd like to learn more about getting your money working harder, how to properly protect yourself and your family from unforeseen tragedy, or just want a financial blueprint to reach your goals, let's chat.
Sylvie, what about you? What made you decide to leave the Renfrew Mall and to relocate downtown Renfrew? And were there as many vacant spaces as there were in downtown Pembroke at the time?
No. So believe it or not, the mall was going to be demolished. Walmart moved out of the mall, and then they were going to demolish the mall. So I had one location. I can't remember if there were many at the time. I really can't remember. But anyhow, we had this location, and then the landlord decided to take over the location for himself. So we had to find something else. And at that time, there were no locations. That was about 16 years ago. And someone called me just on a whim to say, hey, I'm thinking of closing clothing store, and she offered me the location, and it's been awesome ever since. Yeah. No, I love being downtown. What a difference than being in a mall and the long hours, right?
It's just a different feel than being in a mall. I feel like you walk into the store and you know it's locally owned. We're in a mall. It is a lot of franchises, and it's a different feel. So I think especially with
put
our
racks outside the mall,
Yeah.
there are a lot of rules when it comes to having a shop at a mall.
Yeah,
So
we have a lot. We can, like I said, set our own hours.
Yeah.
We can close 3 days a week if we wanted to. Like, it's just works so much better for our lifestyles and for the type of business that we have.
So while we're on the topic of both stores, we know the Picket Fence is separately owned, but would you guys say that they're sister stores?
I would say they are still separate stores, but we are constantly collaborating and bouncing ideas off each other. We do all our own buying. They're completely separate businesses, but we both have the same value and similar vision for our stores. So, and I think that's the way it has worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're still, like, neither one of us has had to change the name or anything. We treat it almost like a partnership, but it's not. It's completely separate. You can't use your gift card that you buy in my store in her shop. We do our own buying, like Emma said. But, I mean, if she finds a great item, she'll often share it with me. I do the same. Yeah. We go to some of the buying trips together, but we do our separate buying. We also have a different clientele as well. I have, my clientele is all over the board. I mean,
so I need to buy what I know works in Pembroke, and it's not necessarily going to be the same that works in Renfrew as well.
So there's that. Yeah.
I like the way that you guys did this. Sylvie, you especially, that you had this idea to branch out and let Emma embark on this own journey separately. And I just know, like, nobody does that, right? No other businesses that I know of do that. No. I don't think that they ever did, really.
Yeah.
No, and it gets complicated. People say, well, how could she have this? How could she have kept the name? Well, we had an agreement and it has worked for us, but you have to know our relationship.
Right.
To know that it would work.
There's trust is a huge part of it,
and that's exactly. Yeah, and we trust, and if there's we haven't had any issues.
If there's an issue, there hasn't been an issue.
We know, we just know. You just don't. Yeah, it just works for us because of the type of relationship that we have and the respect that we have for each other.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So long-term customers have seen Picket Fence grow and evolve, and specifically going from a home goods store and with home decor items to being a clothing boutique as well, and expanding to include purses and accessories and so much more. So when did that happen?
I say it's almost like a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a while. We've both been carrying clothing. I think there was a few years back when you saw a lot of gift stores starting to bring in clothing, and at our buying shows, there was
so much clothing.
So much clothing, so many accessories. So we were seeing that, and
it was the way that most stores were going. Yeah. And we tend to, we try to be trendsetters as well. So we're usually either trying to be ahead of it or at least in it. And that's how, because you're seeing that a lot. I remember I had these sweaters, these big woolen sweaters when we first opened. We always dabbled a little bit into the clothing, but now it's a big part of our business.
It is. And I feel like the reason why our stores have been so successful is because people can come in there, they can buy a gift, they can buy something for their home, they're now buying clothing, they're buying accessories. It's almost like a one-stop shop, and it's easy shopping, and it's a great experience. We have the best employees that always have a smile on their face, willing to help, and it's that whole experience that we've created for people.
And price point that's important to me. I want to make sure that anyone can come in and they can afford something nice to treat themselves. That's something that's really important to me, even way back when I started. So
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys about stores like HomeSense and Pottery Barn, especially when those started popping up and we ended up getting a Winners in Pembroke. Were you guys ever worried about the future of your home decor stores?
I don't think so. I think because again, like those are big franchises and it's a whole different experience that you're getting. And we're always going to have those customers that want to shop local. They want to shop small business, and that's what we have on them. I feel like
a choice, really.
Yeah.
It just gives people a choice. More businesses, it attracts more people.
Yeah.
So everyone, and I mean every Canadian business, wants Picket Fence to carry their homemade products, their jewelry collections, candles, bath products, and artwork, and so much more. So the first question, how many requests per week do you guys get from a Canadian business owner asking you to carry their products?
Lately, a lot, eh?
quite a
Oh,
lot.
my.
Yeah. It's hard though, because we can love all these things, but we also can't carry all these things. And there's so many small businesses that are amazing in Canada and we want to support, but it's like, there comes a point where you have to be choosy. We know our customers so well, so we know what works, we know what doesn't. And there's also lines that we have good relationships with a lot of our suppliers, and some of them are local businesses, and we have to keep those relationships, and those are important to us. So I think that's kind of where we can draw our line with some things.
And I think you don't also want to have like repetitive products as well too. You
Right.
only want to have so many jewelry lines and so
Exactly.
many
Right.
purse lines and so many clothing lines as well. But it is nice to see you guys supporting local businesses in
for
your
sure.
store and local entrepreneurs. And I really don't like to say small. I try to get that word right out of my vocabulary, because we're all business owners at the end of the day, whether we're doing multiple jobs or, this is our sole baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I think it's important that you guys are doing that. And I love seeing local brands that I recognize right here in our community that you guys carry. So well done with that. Emma, how has your store, though, changed over the past 5 years? Because you opened your doors in 2018. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2019, we moved to the bigger location. We've expanded a bit. We've obviously expanding more on the clothing because we have the space now too. We're constantly changing with home decor trends and fashion trends too. Continuously. Sylvie was talking about stars and moons and like
Full circle is coming
full
back
circle.
now.
I remember Sylvie when she was in the Pembroke Mall at one point, she was at the front of the mall and it was all Mexican
Oh, yeah.
homeware.
We used to go to Mexico and import it. Yeah,
Yeah.
those were good times.
Yeah, so it was like all terracotta. And so we're constantly changing with the trends and what people are asking for. We can't stay the same. No.
and where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
That's a big question. I am there. I feel like the past few years, there's just been so much going on and so much uncertainty. And I feel like I haven't been able to plan for anything. So honestly, the next 5 years is I just want to feel comfortable. And I almost want to sit back and let things happen the way they're meant to happen. I don't have
Good for you.
Yeah, I am like planless, and whatever comes to me will come to me in time, and I really believe that. So,
And then what about the store, Emma? Do you see expansion? Do you see maybe relocating anywhere? Do you even see yourself maybe even taking a little bit more of a back seat? Because I remember when I had the June Motel girls and you're hearing about the girls out in Bermuda living their best life and, traveling everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that every entrepreneur's
Yeah.
dream? But I feel like
Yeah.
you have to take a certain level of the success and even with your own kids getting to a certain age too.
yeah, I feel like the past few years I have stepped back a little more so than I've
You're
had
trying.
it. So I think it's since I've moved to Petawawa, because I used to live right in Pembroke. So it was just so easy for me to like have the boys fed their dinner and say, okay, I got to go into work. It was just so easy because it was 5 minutes away. Now that I'm here, it's almost like it's more of an effort to go, but it's actually been a blessing because I'm not buried in work every night now, and I'm spending more time with my family.
You're camping.
And I'm camping and doing all the fun things. And yeah, it's just, I feel like I've shifted a little bit in my home life for the better. I'm around more. I'm more so involved in the boys' extracurriculars. And I feel like I don't want to step back more from the store. I'm still so young.
Yeah.
I've got many years ahead of me, and I'm still working hard, and I still want to grow the store as much as I can. But like I said, like, I'm just kind of sitting back and trying to take it all in. It's so hard when you're in it every day to take that step back and see that different perspective. So I think I'm just more so appreciating where I am and how far I've come with things. I don't know, it may play into Sylvie's plans, but
Yeah. Sylvie, tell us about yours. What about you?
5 years, I'm hoping to be retired. I've already started slowing down. I have an amazing staff, so they take care of things. I spent 2 months in Florida this year. That was a trial, and so I really plan on slowing down, just to enjoy life. Like, life is so short, and being locked down for 2 years, like, it really took its toll.
For
It
sure.
really did. And so maybe, I don't know, possibly Emma, if she, maybe she would take over. That's possible.
I think it's always been a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it may change now, but I can't see anyone else taking it over when I do retire. But I'm definitely slowing down. I still love what I do. I'm very passionate. And believe you me, even if she does take over, I'll still be in there. I'll still be the boss, I'll still
Always
be
the
coming
boss.
in. I'll still be coming in. I can't see myself ever not working. I have
Doing
another side
something,
hustle or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I always like, I love vintage shopping. I have a lot of interests that over the years I haven't really had a chance to explore. And now I'm ready for a little bit of a change in 5 years. Not just yet.
Emma, what's one piece of advice that you would give to any young entrepreneur who might have an opportunity presented to them, like the one that you had with Sylvie?
Yeah, I would say go for it if it's truly feels right in your gut. And if this is, being a business owner is definitely a different life. And you have to be prepared for that different lifestyle. And it's almost like your business is your baby.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So you have to be prepared to integrate that business into your life, because that's what's going to happen. I also feel like you need to do what you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about something.
That's the thing. We're still very passionate.
Very. Yeah.
Like, people, I may not be in my store on a daily basis, but I'm always thinking, always
working.
Always.
working in our heads. Like, there's
never stops.
You can never shut it off.
No,
So
never.
I would say
You know
just
that.
be prepared for that. It does give you a different sense of freedom, though. You are your own boss. You get to make your own rules. But yeah, it is a different lifestyle, and just be ready for that.
And it also comes with its sets of challenges too. I find that being intentional. I mean, when you work a 9 to 5, it's so easy to be able to clock in, clock out, but not being on your phone, I find for me is the hardest. And especially when your kids kind of start recognizing that. Also, you guys deal with something that only retailers would really know about, and that's shoplifting. Emma, you went through this last week, very recently, but it's not just that it was recent, it's ongoing. And Sylvie, I'm sure you deal with that as well.
for sure.
That's a real struggle, and that's profit that's lost.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do with that? You're also dealing with customer reviews that are not
And
always
that's
the
why
best.
it's so personal.
Yeah.
It is personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, Picket Fence is us.
Yeah,
Like, this
Absolutely.
is
We are Picket
us.
Fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when somebody steals from us, it's like them coming into our home and stealing something
Absolutely.
from our home. That's how it feels. And it's a crappy feeling. And I get like it happens everywhere, but that doesn't make it right. And it just like stealing from a small business is just something else. Anyways, I don't like to get into it too much, but there's struggles with business.
Oh yeah, it's not all honky dory. Believe you me, there's a lot of struggles as well. We've gone through some hard times.
Yeah.
And
But
even
I think we learn from these
for
things,
sure.
and we know it comes with the territory.
and we keep reinventing ourselves.
Yeah.
So whether it be clothing or, we just keep reinventing ourselves. And I think that's what makes Picket Fence successful.
I like that you're using the word reinventing and no longer pivot. Let's leave that word with the other P word that we don't like to use anymore.
Yeah.
Now, Sylvie, what's one piece of advice that you would give to seasoned entrepreneurs around succession planning?
Oh, shoot. I would just say, just take care of yourself. Take care of you. Take care of your own business. Do you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just concentrate on your own business. That's, I think that's really important. Just do yourself.
Stay in your own lane.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, ladies, I really appreciate the both of you sitting down with me today and doing this interview and finally really sharing your stories and collectively as well. I think this was a great idea and I'm really glad that we were able to do this. But the fun is not over just yet. So I am going to put you guys in the hot seat once more with my rapid 10. Are you guys ready?
Oh boy.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
So it's funny, Sylvie, too, when you were saying that your brain doesn't turn off because I always leave everything to the last minute. And these questions were prepared last night at 3 a.m. And my husband rolls over and is like, what could you possibly be doing? And I was like, preparing my rapid 10 questions for tomorrow. And he was like,
You got to do what you got to do.
the last minute, wasn't
Exactly.
this interview scheduled like a month ago? All right. What did you guys do with all of the leftover loungewear after the pandemic?
Discount.
Discount. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah.
Both of the picket fence logos are different. So let's give a shout out to your designers. Who designed them?
Mine is Caitlin Ritchie. She's called The Rooted Farmhouse on Instagram. She's amazing.
And mine is, as you know, Amber Sweeney from Sweeney. I think she goes by Curations now, Sweeney. And Amber helped me. I have to give a shout out to Amber as well, because when this whole COVID thing happened and I had to go online, she helped me out a lot to get my website going. And that was a big, for me, my age, Emma helped me, and so did Amber. So I really appreciated that. Yeah, she's a good person.
Yeah. Huge recognition for graphic designers and website developers.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
More than ever before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sylvie, in March, you celebrated 27 years in business,
Yes.
which is such a huge milestone. So what's something you still have either at home or at the store from your early years, whether it be a home decor item or a fun momentum?
Okay, funny thing, it actually fell out of a box the other day because I was looking for something, my name tag, and I almost brought it. Yes, it was a name tag that one of my customers painted, and it has a birdhouse on it and a picket fence. I'll send you a picture.
That
It's
is
so
so
cute.
cute.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. And Emma, this past February, you celebrated 13 years in business. So
Yes.
congratulations to you as
Thank
well.
you.
If you are not an entrepreneur running your successful home goods and clothing boutique, what do you think that you would be doing career-wise?
I honestly think I would be a teacher.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can
No,
see that.
I
No?
can't. But that's okay.
Maybe you know me too well. No, but honestly, I think just because I really was not sure what I wanted to do, it was either business or go to teacher's college. And I think that's what a lot of my friends were doing too. I love kids and I have a lot of patience for kids too, and children, I should say. And yeah, I think I don't think I was meant to do anything else, but if there was something, it would be a teacher.
Wow. Interesting.
Picket fences were extremely popular in the 1800s, but do you guys know why they were?
No.
Oh, I was...
Did it like keep animals out of something because they're like sharp?
No. So this is really interesting. It had to do, I guess, like with World War II. And a picket fence in your front yard signaled to others that you were the typical all-American family.
Okay.
And if you didn't have one, people started questioning as to why, which was really interesting. So they started popping up, I guess, in popularity after all the soldiers got home, and then they started kind of settling down in communities. And the picket fence kind of represented not the sword, the arrow, I guess.
Okay.
Which is really interesting. Yeah.
I really struggled with naming the store. Don't get me wrong. Like,
so my son the other day said,
why?
Mommy, why is your store called Picket Fence? I said, I don't know, ask Sylvie.
It was tough. It was really, really hard. And I needed a name. And I think I was looking like through Country Sampler magazine or something. And then it was my husband who said, well, what about Picket Fence? And I'm like, Anyways, we went with it. And then a few years later, we were going to change the name. And you thought of it as well. And we're like, you know what? That would be like retail, like not a good idea because it was so well established. But no.
People knew the name.
Did I love the name? No. It was just
really?
a name. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I also Googled if there are any other picket fences in the world, and there are two, but it's picket fences.
Yes.
And I'm like, how original.
Okay, so
Yeah.
probably at least twice a week, I get calls about
Fences.
fences
Really?
and
Same.
fencing, and people from out of town that are moving to Pembroke or Petawawa, and they now need a fence. Because when you Google fencing Pembroke,
Yeah.
It shows
my website is the first hit.
Yeah.
So they don't even look to see what we're selling. They just press
Immediately
call
call.
and say, okay, I need a fence.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Valley Roots has that problem too, except there's a Valley Roots in Arnprior, and they are a
is
butcher
there?
shop. So
Oh,
completely
yes.
different businesses
Oh,
as well.
yeah,
So
that's
the two get calls
right.
for what meat is on special for the week, and if they have any appointments available.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. It's hilarious. I laugh every time.
Let's go back in time again, ladies. Before Picket Fence, Pembroke and Renfrew were at 161 Pembroke Street West and 190 Raglan Street South. What former businesses occupied both locations?
Okay, so for me it was Jordan Fashions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where we are now, there's actually a thrift store. It was Got You in Mind.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
And then
so
and then the fire
There was a
happened.
fire and it was completely gutted, renovated. It was such a smaller
Was
store
the
even.
Prospector there too?
The Prospector
Oh my
was
God,
there.
yeah,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's going back.
Yeah, the Prospector was there. Yeah, so a lot of thrift stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's another home decor store that you follow for inspiration and admire?
I know mine.
Gosh.
I follow The Cross. They're a
yeah.
gift store and home decor, and they sell furniture in Vancouver. It is the most beautiful store.
You're right. It is
Yeah.
stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like Lemon Decor.
Okay, yeah.
I love the Cross as well. I also really like what Candace Plott's design is doing in Renfrew as well.
She's doing amazing things.
Yes, she
too.
is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love following her work. Any interior designer out there, props to them. They can design my home any day. I mean, Emma, like
Yeah, right.
you don't even have to be an interior designer.
So he's like, you need to come to my house.
I go to HomeSense and buy a candle, and I think I've done great work. I'm like, where should I put this? Okay, so it's 3 a.m. and your mind is racing just like mine because, like we were saying, entrepreneurs and moms never sleep. What's on your mind? You guys know what mine is at 3 a.m. last night, but what's on yours?
Honestly, for me, it's probably the negatives. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, the self-doubt and the am I doing enough and that kind of thing. I'm not really stressed out about like the day-to-day. It's more so, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing enough to
With age, that won't bother you as much.
Somebody's
with
like, wait
age,
till
I
you get in
think.
your 40s.
Yeah.
You just don't care
exactly.
anymore.
you just don't care.
Yeah.
And that's one thing like
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I think that's always been my personality too. Like I'm
sure.
a overachiever and a go-getter, and I don't know if that's always a good thing. And I always want to be the best and do the right thing. And yeah, I think that's what would keep me up.
For me, I would say, well, last night I'm trying to figure out, okay, what different items can I bring in this Christmas? I'm planning what type of new, and searching different sites to see, okay, what's out there? I want something different this Christmas, So I'm planning my buying.
Yeah. Honestly, I should say Sylvie is the best at finding new items or having an idea in her head. And if she thinks of something, she can find that item. And then she's normally like, hey, Emma, check this out.
Thanks, Em.
And ladies, you know this question is coming. My fan favorite. Who is one local business that inspires both of you ladies that everyone should know about?
You go ahead.
I want to shout out Lana from Astrid's. She is such a hard worker, and I have a lot of respect for hard workers because I know that's what it takes to get there. And she's incredible at what she does, and you can tell she's passionate about what she does. She's a flower shop, if anybody doesn't know, in Pembroke, and I go to her for so many things, and I even stop in there to pick up a quick bouquet, and it's always a long chat, and it's a chat about business, and I think I really understand Lana, and I know things that she's going through as a business owner, and it's a really nice relationship to have. But yeah, I want to give her a little shout out.
Love it. Sylvie, what about you?
I have quite a few, but I will say Judy from JJ Chocolates.
Love her chocolates.
She
So good.
is the most hardworking woman that I know, and she's had a lot of health issues, and she's still, between her and her daughter Sarah, they work so hard, and her chocolate is just so amazing. She's a lovely person and a very intelligent woman, and she's the new chair of our BIA in Renfrew. And I really admire Judy.
Chocolates and flowers and home decor. I mean, you can't go wrong. All the best things in life.
Totally. Yeah.
Ladies, thank you again so
Thank
much for being a part of the
you.
podcast.
Thank you so much,
And
Holly.
honestly, this was just so much fun, and I'm excited.
Thanks for
to see
doing
what
this,
is.
and
Thank you so much.
out of our comfort zone, but
Completely out of
You would
mine.
never
You
know.
did a
Would
great
never
job.
know.
we appreciate it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
really.
we've always struggled with getting our story out there too, I feel like. So this is good, and
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Thank
Okay,
you so
well,
much.
Cheers, ladies.
Thank you.
Babes, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of OB Boss Babes podcast. Now, if you like this episode as much as I did, please give us a rating, a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this right now. And if you're not following Picket Fence Renfrew or Picket Fence Pembroke, which you should be, please go give them a follow on Facebook and Instagram and visit them in store in Renfrew and Pembroke, and tell Emma and Sylvie that you listened to their episode and you loved it. And better yet, screenshot this episode, show everybody that you're listening, and tag them on the socials. We'll be back on Wednesday for our regular Boss Babe Corner series, so give us a follow too if you're not already, and see who we're going to be spotlighting next.